unconsciously they are actually triggering of
Yeah, exactly.
incidents. So
Yeah.
please, can you just repeat that again and again, because I think it's so important that we listen to this.
Okay. So now let's say the trauma is, let's say, sexual abuse or physical abuse. Now, let's say it is
Mm,
happening right now. If we go really deep down, it could be in childhood or it could be in marriage, it doesn't matter. But whatever abuse, it's a trauma. It's a big trauma.
mm,
We call it small t or big T. Big T is usually this. Small t would be single accident or car accident. You can get PTSD out of even car accident. So now, for
mm,
that matter, whatever trauma has happened, when the trauma is happening, your rational brain has gone offline. Your language has gone off. It's gone just offline. There is no oxygen going into your head right now. And what is happening is when the oxygen doesn't go into your front brain, you don't know what is happening. You become very like scared. Then what happens is all of a sudden your emotional brain will take over. Now the emotional brain will be processing. It will see that five senses, the triggers that are happening around, and it will try to understand, is this a good thing or a bad thing? It says no, it's a bad thing right now. It will have that particular memory, the live memory, and it will just keep it there live because it has not processed it. Because to process it means to understand. But if your cognitive brain is not offline, you're not going to be able to process anything that's happening right now. And then your body will start reacting. Instead of your head reacting in a rational way, your body will start reacting. You will, if it goes to the extreme, you will have diabetes because you will have blood sugar. That is the extreme form of whatever, the
wow.
next stage of your
Mm,
trauma. But the stage before that, before it goes to that physical problem, would be a stage wherein you will be feeling these nightmares. You might just get
mm,
nightmares again and again. You will be sleeping, but you will be reliving that particular trauma in your sleep. You will be awake and you will be working, but your thoughts will be in trauma.
oh my God.
You will not be able to understand what's going on because you're hijacked. You see, something has happened
Mm,
to you. You're traumatized. It's completely hijacked. And all
mm,
these triggers are living again alive all the time. Till you physically,
mm,
even if you come physically out of that situation, your head hasn't processed it. Your head
oh
has,
my God.
and nobody has normalized these symptoms
Mm,
because you the person needs to understand that this is normal. You're going through a trauma. You're not gone mad.
yeah, but Ashwini, most of the time, most people don't even understand what's going on, and they can't even get out of this. And the people around them, unfortunately, are not educated enough to understand it either. So,
Yeah,
you're talking about this today. People say, "Oh, that's just little. Oh, she'll be fine. Get on with it. Oh, he'll be fine. Get on with it. It's just the, normal thing. You feel down, and you'll be all right." But really, in hindsight, what you're describing is quite deep.
it
And
is.
yeah, and it's very seriously dangerous because it's actually affecting the real person that they are.
Yeah, they do end up getting psychotic disorder after this. They do get so if it goes to the extreme and if it's not looked into by somebody, that person can end up having multiple disorder like a personality disorder, or even
Mm,
it can even go to schizophrenia because they do
mm,
start seeing things and then people are telling no, they don't exist, because the guy who is there, he'll always try to play victim, or he'll say no, he'll deny everything that he's done to the woman, and then
mm,
the woman starts believing that okay, I'm going mad. So it becomes like a
mm,
disorder, and going forward
mm,
she will end up having schizophrenia. She will have
mm,
multiple personality disorder. A bipolar disorder is bipolar is something that would happen, or disassociation or amnesia. They'll end up even having amnesia. They will start blocking these memories, and their memory starts getting affected because they start blocking these traumatic memories, and we call it like a amnesic sorry, they have a amnesia.
anyway.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
psychoamnesiac disorder.
Uh-huh.
So it
Now,
happens.
I know we're focusing on ladies here, but
Mm-hmm.
men do go through this as well, don't they?
Yes, they do. They do. They do.
They do. Do you think it's a bit different from when you have got patients that you're looking at that are going through? Well, how can you? Well, is it
So
different? I know they're
they
obviously
have
physically they're different.
they have anger issues. They become violent. They do re-victimization of their own victimization. That is what happens with men. If children who have been abused, boys who have been sexually abused, or men who have been sexually abused or even physically abused, they start victimizing, they start playing it out because they are so angry. They start playing it out the same thing with others. So the children of the men who have been victimized as children will always be violent towards them. So there's always a story there. That's what happens usually with men. That's the study.
Okay. So that is the first part of the RTT, should I say. So is there anything severe cases that you've had and that you had to look into traumatization?
As my clients, I do have complex cases. But in RTT, I usually do single incident trauma. RTT supports something that has happened maybe in childhood once and which has had related like a fetus memory to the same incident. Then it is very easy for me to hypnotize the person and go into that memory and start resolving that memory with the Socratic dialogue. That is the CBT part of the whole hypnotherapy.
Right.
It's like...
So you're into hypnotherapy. That's what I was going to lead to. So most people will say they're not quite happy with hypnotherapy. They're quite scared of that to go get hypnotized because they don't understand. And a person like me, if someone said to me, "Ask her, come on, let's go get hypnotized," I would say, "No, thank you."
So there is
what else can you do if they don't want to go on that avenue?
So I would actually first have a discovery call. The discovery call tells the science between the difference between the hypnotherapy and stage hypnosis. A stage hypnosis is something that do for the entertainment. But the hypnosis part of the stage hypnosis is where we use the science behind it. So it is something that the person the client is always in control.
Right. So are you going to break? Are you going to tell us the actual real differences? Like, just tell us exactly a case. If you can give a case for both of them, so that people can understand.
Okay. So, for example, I had a client for anger management, and so what I do is I usually hypnotize them, and then I can't even say hypnotize. Basically, I do hypnotherapy wherein I take them through the stages wherein I try to simulate REM, that is your rapid eye movement. So when I try to simulate that rapid eye movement, which you actually only get it during the sleep, that have that window of alpha frequency. That window is what is important for me. So you're not basically fast asleep, neither are you completely awake. So if I wake you up,
hypnosis, what you see in the movie or in the drama, wherein people are taking control over you. No. This is not that hypnosis. It is not that hypnosis.
So when you're doing hypnotherapy, obviously you must go through a process like you just mentioned. You still do 2, 3, 4 plays where you play with them and you say we're going to do it like this. Then do you? Please, I'm not sounding like as if. I'm not sounding rude, but you know when they say, okay, we'll do a click or a flick or we'll do some sort of thing, so you snap out of it.
No, we don't do anything like that because what I basically do is it's the first stage where I take them into very slow relaxation stage where they are very much awake and very much sleepy. It's like a trance basically. I just take them to that little window of trance where your subconscious mind becomes 90% alert and your conscious mind becomes 10% alert. So I basically take the conscious mind and calm it down. And I take the subconscious mind and make it very powerful and very suggestible. So when conscious mind is alert, which is actually when the human being is very, very, if you're subconscious mind, you would be like, I don't know, you'll be a great person. So at particular phase, I start digging into the memories which have happened in childhood, which they otherwise consciously do not remember. So, and the meat, the actual root cause of their problem. So I start digging those scenes, and then in the scene, they go into that part of there. Sometimes people also go into the womb. They go back so back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they do. So it's not like and if they want to even go to the loo, they just raise their finger, say, you know what, I want to go to the loo now. So in between the session, they go to the loo and come back, and then I just take them back to the stage. So they are in the control. I'm never in the control at all. So
So when you take them, when they do hypnotherapy with you and they come out of it, obviously you said you had a client who had anger management, you were doing it with him. So when they actually come out, do they actually discuss it with you, and then you discuss it with them?
So basically, after I take them into the root cause, the scenes and all, we start discussing the scenes with each other. We try to find if this is the problem that you had come across. So the anger person was that, that person didn't get any, he was the eldest one, wasn't allowed to say much and everything. So every time he went, he just couldn't, he went to his childhood and he's like, he's not allowed to speak on, even while eating. So his anger was always there. So then I start having a dialogue with the child of that age. I say, okay, let's have a conversation. What do you think? Why do you think? So then I ask, we kind of decide on how many scenes he's gone through, I take them to the second tool, the tool wherein I start asking them, say, okay, these are the scenes we went in. What do you think the problem is today? You're angry. Why do you think you're angry right now? So these questions, they come up with their own, so they put answers in that. So I just tell them, okay, let's have a dialogue. So all this happens for 2 to 3 hours during the whole session. And then the end session would be like the final. So I kind of make a transformation. But before that, asking and everything, I do RFPI, that is, role function. So we say, what is the role of this particular anger? What is the function? So they start answering me. But, I think it is there because I want to protect myself, or, I hate myself or punish myself. They come up with this thing.
Wow.
My whole is just to give them proper tools and start questioning in every tool. So that's why it is first hypnotherapy, taking them into the trance, then questioning them, that is a CBT part of it. Then again, questioning belief and everything. And then in the end, then I have a 21, I do a recording. So that becomes like a new NLP. That is like, I'll give you for 21 days and I'll change your belief towards whatever you felt before. And I also tell them to shatter the old belief in the hypnotherapy. So we throwing things at whatever we felt. We felt anger, so we take a laser and we start gunning it. So it becomes like a fun thing for 2 hours. But they're very much aware of what they're doing. And they are in control. I'm never in control with anything.
Right. And what's the other therapy that you do as well, apart from that?
I do EMDR, that is environment desensitization and processing. This is when it is a car accident and it's a severe car accident and they are not able to come out of the symptoms of those. Then it becomes like it becomes like a 3-stage. It has 8 phases basically. So it takes months, maybe 2 months, 3 months. And then the other thing I do is I do CPT and I do STARE. That is a 6 months complete therapy. It's something for people with physical and sexual abuse and childhood abuse, like rapes and parental abuse and everything, where the caregiver is a perpetrator. So there are 3 to 4 things I do. RTT is only for hypnotherapy, which is one single incident that I can nail down, or 3 sessions if it is more complicated than that.
Have there been any success stories as well, obviously, with your patients?
With hypnotherapy, yes, quite a bit. I think hypnotherapy more towards fertility, weight loss, and smoking, addiction, anxiety, sleep disorder, insomnia, procrastination, OCD.
So how many sessions, well, obviously that does depend on the patient, but an overall average, how many sessions would someone have to take if it was just something to do with emotional trauma?
Just 1 session of RTT.
Okay.
So that's why it says fast, because in one session we do everything. We just go into it, talk about it, resolve it. That's it. But you have to listen to the recording for 21 days, which is, and if that recording would have everything that came out of that particular session. So that I keep at home and then I send them and they listen to it for 21 days. So
They listen to their own recording. Okay.
yeah, 21 days. I make the recording while I'm doing the transformation, the last stage of therapy, and that recording goes to them. So then everything that they have said was a problem, I have to kind of add it into the recording so that it becomes bespoke. It is not just general for everybody. No, every person has his own private recording. So.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm quite so interested. I've lost my words. Because I'm one of the
I agree with you. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, if you say hypnotherapy, I run a mile.
No. It is not hypnosis. It is hypnotherapy. It's not hypnosis.
You know, I see you very interested and you know quite a lot about it. Have you had this done?
Yes, I have done on myself.
Is it?
Yes.
So how did you feel then?
Oh, I felt I could manage it very well. Whatever my issue was, I was able to manage it very well. I was able to resolve the issue very well. You know,
really?
With Ashwini's help. Yes.
And you did it with Ashwini?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
that is how that is how I know Ashwini.
Okay. So yeah, we've got an actual living proof. So should we say someone that's supporting Ashwini? Wow.
No, someone who supports RTT, basically.
Yeah. All right. I know. I remember Ashwini saying on our website that it's actually, it addresses the issues in depth and completely overcoming them. Does that really happen, that they really do overcome?
Yes. If it is so, when in a hypnotherapy, a person comes with many issues, and we ask them, okay, fine, you know what, you have 3-4 issues. Which is the one which is bothering you a lot at this moment? And then they will say, okay, you know what, in the discovery call, we come to know. Half an hour discovery call is on the phone before even the session. I kind of gauge it. I ask them, I give them preferences, and they say, okay, this is the issue. So if that is the issue, and while doing the hypnotherapy, I see that usually subconscious mind takes you to scenes only related to that issue. It's very scientific, but yes, it does. It doesn't take you to anything else with other issues, but it will indirectly or directly somehow with our head, with that whole conscious and subconscious conversation. It does take you to only those memories from hippocampus.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
No, please.
No, please carry on.
So only that related issue gets resolved in that session.
Yeah, okay.
But then if you come with a chain of issues, then every issue will become one session.
So it's okay, one session per issue. That's what you're saying,
yes.
Yeah. Because the only thing that I'm a bit, I'm not saying it does not happen and you may not be able to cure this. It's just two things when you said, like fertility and addicts, like drug addict people. Do they really? They're two different people here. I'm talking about. Fertility means the sense of women having, children, their fertility, and they can't have conceived. How can hypnotherapy relate that and internally inside you, that you can actually have and not have children if that's what you're doing in fertility? And then I'm looking at the addictions, people that are on drugs and God forbid many other things, alcoholic. How can you actually? Does it work? I'm just being a bit cautious. I'm just trying to understand. How can you actually bring these people out of these kind of things? These two things are just quite.
So in fertility, some of the cases that I have come across is basically, if it's if in case it's let's say it's something to do with anatomy. Okay. Even if it is anatomical, there is a reason why there is a blockage or why it is not happening. Is because subconsciously in the childhood, probably, when we go to the scenes, we come to know that probably during my one of the case studies was that the mother was like, you know what, I went through too much during pregnancy. I just, you just been like, it wasn't a good pregnancy for me at all. So the child is always watching the mother say this. And then subconsciously the child is putting it in a head that I don't want to be ever pregnant. I don't want to go through this and I don't want to do this. So that I don't want to be pregnant becomes like a reality. So your body will accept what you say. The body is just very clever. So what you tell your body, it will just accept it. And then in future, you will realize that you'll come up with a lot of medical issues which will not let you get pregnant at all. So that is how we go deep down in it. And we also do restructuring. When I make a transformational recording, I actually come to know the medical first in a discovery call. I kind of ask them what was the medical issue. Why do you have, even if it's a single tube or whatever it is, I come to know the first medical problem. Then in the recording, I kind of restructure the whole transformation according to what should happen. The sperm should be healthy, the egg should be healthy, your tube should open, it should be this. So I kind of make this neuro NLP kind of a dialogue with your stomach. So then it becomes like a program for you and you start listening to it. So first we kind of take out the belief that why you feeling that you shouldn't get pregnant. Oh, okay, because your mother said so. Oh, so that's why you decided like this. So that is the whole thing with fertility. But it's one of the case studies. There are many kind of different reasons why the children, sometimes the women don't want to be pregnant. Could be also because of the sexual reason. They have been, touched inappropriately at a wrong place, in the sense, where so then they decide, I don't want to have anybody. Don't want anybody to touch me. I don't want to go through all. So then they have this dysfunction. They create problems in a way. Consciously. So then, with every person, it's a different story. It's a story together. So it's going deep down to this. Addiction usually happens is when the children or any person want to numb their feelings. They just they have so much going on. I had somebody who was gay basically. After when he came out, it was just very difficult. He had to numb the bullying that was happening. So he went into addiction. So we have to go back to that part. So every time, as I said, every individual different story, but I come to know through the session. And then this is that to let that person know that now you're a grown-up person. Nobody's bullying you at this point of a time. Do you think you need to hold that belief at this point of a time? And when the person says, no, I don't, because I'm not living with that person who's to bully me, then why? Then why do you need to be, So the questioning is with the person in subconscious way. So the person himself comes to know to the answer. And then once the person comes to know in the why and where and whom, everything, they themselves resolve it. I don't have to do anything. They have the answer. I just have to make the recording. But addiction, due to a lot of complex trauma, then I try to move more towards CPT or different modality. I also have to come to know, because I always do the assessment, which modality would be right for this person. So I wouldn't pitch any therapy unless and until I come to know the background, and the discovery would tell me whether this is a RTT or this is EMDR or this is CPT. So is it a complex single incident or what it is? So it depends on the client who comes to me. Then I decide.
The thing is, Ashwini, no offense to the doctors out there and the qualified homeopathics out there. No offense to these people out there, please. Because what it is that if therapy is giving an easy way of getting rid of certain issues like you just mentioned, stress, addictions, and especially fertility, weight loss, depression, we can go on and on and on, OCD or fears, phobias, whatever people have got, certain issues that they want to address. And if obviously RTT can help, which obviously I know for a fact now, because my friend Purvi has had a session done with you and she's overcome it. So I think this is one of the best steps to go forward and go to first. I would rather come to you than to go to a doctor and get more medication and be on drugs and all the kind of things that'll have side effects.
Yeah. So
it's quite comforting to know that this can be addressed in a very comfortable manner, really.
Yeah. So our whole thing is that, you if you are having diabetes, yes, you should have medicine. But what is the root cause of diabetes? Why are you having diabetes? Is because when we talk about our body, below our diaphragm is your stomach, right? The digestion and everything. When you are in a complex trauma or you have any kind of a trauma, fight and flight mode. So when you're in a fight and flight mode, your digestion doesn't work. It takes a back seat because that's not important at that point. And so if you don't digest, your metabolism doesn't work, your thyroid doesn't work. So then you have diabetes. So we again have to go back. Why it started, when it started. It's always why and when and how. So
Like you said, bad nightmares, bad thoughts, bad childhood. It could be anything really, trigger of bullying, anything that could trigger off something that you're carrying a weight which you subconsciously and consciously, you're not aware really, aren't you? You're not aware. And it's when you go through hypnotherapy that you actually start talking about issues. Like you said, you actually go back to your womb. That's the first I heard.
Yeah. One of the case studies was wherein this woman, her hearing was very bad. She just wanted to not want to listen to anything, and then in hypnosis, when I hypnotized her and then took her into whatever trance, and also it was something that her mother, when she was pregnant, had these smugglers coming over and they were banging the door. So that's why she always
My
did
God.
hear. So even the hearing, why? Even the visual aid, why? So everything is usually why. So try, but it's always works. I mean, like, we try to make it work. And
obviously, you do look at. I'm not saying that you do look at the person's medical background, and you do look at others before you actually take the person on. So you're quite aware.
Yeah. I have like a full assessment. I do anxiety test. I do depression test. I
How do
do
you do those tests
impact
then? Can you just talk us
form.
through those tests?
Those are basically forms. We have DSM-5, that is a diagnostic manual for mental health. So these are the forms available for all the therapists, and we call it GAD, that is General Anxiety Disorder 7 test. It has 7 questions. Then from there we come to know, we calculate how much is your anxiety. Then from PHQ-9, that is a depression, we come to know how much is your depression. And then we have complex. If I come to know only from these forms, it's more complex, and I have a complex questionnaire. Then I come to know, where do you live, what are the symptoms, how many symptoms, there are 4 plus 3. So I do a whole lot of assessment, and plus I do discovery call, wherein I gauge, come to know what it is, and then I take forward.
Right. So when you do all that, can I ask you a question? I mean, people, if they come to do hypnotherapy with you, but they're not comfortable in having other firms, for example, like off there where they work, or they don't want to disclose that they've been to see you, would that be hidden? Can they keep it private, basically?
Yeah. I have to sign. There is a waiver form from them, and there's a confidentiality from my side. We have to sign that contract before we start off. The information doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, the license would be taken away if the information is out. So we have to follow all that particular protocols. We have a safety contract. We have a behavioral contract. The contract that the client has to also be committed to doing this particular 21 days recording, or if it's EMDR, it goes furthermore. So all that is always in place with us.
Because most people probably like to come to see you, but they don't want to talk about it or have anyone else knowing about it. Because I think privacy is very important.
I don't store the data. I delete the data immediately, and I think no talk about it, but I think that is said, but from my side, it's always confidential. I don't discuss anybody that way.
Right. Do you have a certain age group that you target, or could anyone come to you?
Anybody, because I also do children. I have teenagers. Yeah, I do. I do have like 16. I have 15 who had a fear of needle. I had 17 who was addicted to smoking. So yes, I start off with the age and all. But then I don't do it if it's under 9. I don't do hypnotherapy under 9. But I do other therapies under 9, which are simple dialogue, not hypnotherapy.
So the
So
children,
like
more dialogue with the children.
yeah, more dialogue, the more play therapy with them.
Is it? Okay. Yes, I can, like social workers do, don't they? To understand
Yeah,
the
yeah,
child.
yeah,
Yeah, I've seen, yeah.
yeah.
So would you
But
like to just give us
I
an
do,
example of a case on that?
yeah, we do puppets. We play with puppets. So it's usually that puppet will ask a question to the client, like the child. So I become the puppet and start asking questions. So that is it. So I do take them through hypnotherapy, but not like like I don't take them through the stages. We just talk about sleeping and feeling very sleepy and playing that game and say,
Right.
oh, are we sleepy now? Then we do something like, okay, let's imagine a lemon is in your mouth, let's chew it. How are you feeling? Do you feel the lemon? So it becomes like a child play with them, and then we start asking, the puppet starts asking question. Yeah, so we have the puppets and all that.
Wow. And they're actually sleeping, but they're not
Yeah,
lying down,
they get
basically.
very sleepy. They basically don't close their eyes, they just open their eyes, they do what they want to do. But
Wow.
we play around with them, we know. But we do it like it doesn't 2 to 3, it's not 2 to 3 hours kind of thing. It's just basically 10-20 minutes kind of a session. We play very easy and very, we have to be very careful. So we play it very easy, and it's always has to be puppet and asking question and a little recording of 5 minutes to listen before going to bed. But parent is supposed to be around under 9.
Wow. Well, just wanted to say that thank you for listening in. We are actually tuned in with Bless Radio, our Unity 5 platform. Our host is Purvi Vasani, but she's actually disappeared. I don't know where she is. But and we've got a guest called Ashwini, and Ashwini does Rapid Transformational Therapist. It's called RTT. And she's been giving us a lot of information, what is it about, and the issues you can actually get rid of a lot of deep issues, And we just talked about fertility, addiction, stress, anemia, weight loss, anxiety, OCD. I think I can go on and on and on. So there are various issues, but she did mention quite clearly that every issue is dealt individually. So which means if you want to deal, like, say, for instance, OCD and fertility, that'll be 2 issues and so forth. Yes, Ashwini. So, yes, carry on. I just want to hear about your cases, to be honest. It's very intriguing what you're talking about today, and it's really nice information as well.
Well, I say which other cases.
What's the most common cases that you see with females, and what's common you see with men?
Okay, men are usually, a lot of men just come for anger. They have like a anger or smoking. Okay. Smoking, anger, or sometimes even sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction as well.
So are they okay when they have the when they have the hypotherapy? Are they okay after this? Are they working properly then?
Yeah, because we have to kind of I have to look at it in a very professional way. So I kind of we kind of break the ice before, and we say we're going to talk it very technically, and we're not going to be feeling anything like that. And there's always that, and now also because it's online, so it's not that the person is with me, and so they are comfortable talking about it. And so they have issues because of the childhood case. One of the cases was that the boy was with two aunties. He was living with 2 aunties, and he was sleeping with them. And unfortunately, because of that, he was not, like, when he grew, he was like, he didn't like boobs at all. So he was not ready to have sex with his partner because he just didn't like boobs at all. So then he, like, every time he saw, he just couldn't do anything about it, and he couldn't even operate, like, he couldn't get connection. So then I had to go down there, and of course then we came to, and then when he realized it, and then now he's okay, he's happy with his partner, things are working. So yeah, this is one of the cases for men.
You just don't know what triggers it off. You just don't know what triggers it off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. So when I also come to know, I'm like, oh my, in my head, I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
because it's something you would never think that that part of the
See.
female will make the child feel he's going to get put off for life.
Yeah. Just sleeping with aunties, that was his thing. I was like, oh my God. But anyway, we found it, we did it, we worked on it. So that's how it happened. And then one person who was basically, his wife recommended me for the, he's always angry. He's always fighting with me. And I'm like, are you sure he needs it? And he's like, no, he needs it. So he came to me very reluctant. He just came to me very reluctant. He's like, let me see what you do. And he was very cynical about the whole thing. So he was making it very difficult for me. He didn't even want to come with the scenes. He was so controlling, so
Wow.
controlling. But I had to, like, it took us 3 hours, but we worked it, and he was like, oh my God. Like the fact that, his grades had affected because his father was not around and he had to take up the responsibility. And so he was always angry of losing out chances. So
Yeah.
he's always, now it's like he's trying to kind of promote it, but he doesn't know why he's so angry. So yeah, this is one of the case studies with men. And what else? And smoking usually, it's they always say it's work, but it's always that they want to be overachievers because they've always been told as child, they've been bullied as children. So it always comes to being bullied and then wanting to be overachiever and then not able to take the stress, so going into smoking. So again, we have to go back to the childhood or whatever, whenever.
It's quite
So those
different,
are
isn't
the.
it, with females and males?
It is. It is a
Yeah.
little, and difficult than women because women are more open up about these things and they're not very cynical about it. But
Mm,
men are like, "Ah, let me see what you can do. Let me see you can
mm,
fix me or not." And
mm.
I'm like, okay, fine. So they start being difficult, but then they melt between because they get so much to talk all of a sudden. All the time they were told to shut up. Now they have been told to talk so much about their problems that they just want to go on and on and on about it. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
men,
okay,
I
great.
think with men, I could be wrong, but men find it very difficult to talk about a lot of issues. And like you said,
Yes.
females, we just carry on talking, we do not stop. And we're very easily talking about our emotions if we get the right person to listen to us, like yourself. If I had you sitting with me, I'd probably go on from day to day to day with you. Men are very realistic in a lot of ways. They think, do I really need to do this? Do I really need to go out down that? Someone finds out my grouping
Yeah.
boys, they're gonna say, what are you doing, brother?
Yeah.
There's that taboo there, isn't it, for them as well? It's not fair because they go through a lot of traumas as well.
They do, and they have to so much be in the peer pressure, as you said just now, that
Mm,
that's why the anger and the violence is because of that anger.
mm,
It's a brimming anger. And that's why I have a son. I always tell him, want to cry? Let's cry. Let's just
yeah,
cry. Let's not be like, oh, because sometimes father says, you shouldn't
yeah.
cry. And
Men are
I'm like,
told not to
no,
do certain things. Yeah, you're a man. Stop this. You don't do this. It's not fair.
it's not fair. So I tell him, I tell all the boys, all nephews of mine, please cry, please let me know, tell me all your problems. I'm listening
Yes.
to you guys. But yeah, that's important for the boys. I think the mothers, I'm like, I feel mothers or fathers, whoever, but I think the boys should have boys. That's it. And I don't think then I think the violence will be taken care of in future.
That's a good point there.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, we need to
So
address it for both of them, not just for one, because at the end of the day, there's a man and a woman, and the world is running with men and women. And I think it's very important that we start talking to our men and our brothers, come forward and address issues because they're very quiet and they take it in and
yeah.
they close it, they shut it, and they don't open up. And, they get traumatized, but they still have to act like a
Yeah.
man. It's not fair.
It really not. I do feel for them. I really like now being in this field. I like, okay, forgetting about my ex, he was a narcissist, but
Mm,
otherwise, I feel when I do get clients who say, I don't understand why he hits me all of a sudden, and I am like, I can see that because he's re-victim. So I sometimes when I have a client for complex, I always see what is the man like. I have to know what the man is like. Is he doing it
mm.
regularly? Is he having mood swings and all? Because they it's so controlled and then one trigger and they just want to thrash the woman. So I don't want to justify for what they're doing, but I always say, they do need therapy. Men need therapy because then the women will be safe. it compulsory. It is something that has happened to them. They're not going to tell, and they're going to just take it out on women. Most of the time, it happens that way. 50, 70%. Yeah.
And yeah, or like you said, women, we come forward, but I also think a lot of women need therapy as well, Ashwini, because they do abuse men as well. I've seen the other side of women as well, how they can be very, very devious towards men as well, and they need therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you. There are women, like I have one of the case study or other client right now, wherein the sister is inflicting that kind of over a sister, so it's become very difficult. Wherein the hostage situation was there now. So yes, there is that there. Yeah, with women as well.
I'm just wondering if Les is there, because I know he's very tired today. He couldn't come on. He's just connected us through, because I think he would have questioned you a lot, because he talks a lot about his personal problems and issues as well. And I think a lot of viewers have listened and how he's been treated by certain women, because certain women come across very elegant and nice, but they're very, very, very violent. And sometimes the guy's a nice person as well, and then he's victimized. And but like I said, therapy and talking about issues like this is such a taboo for our men. It's quite annoying.
Yeah, the society does not accept the therapy as a norm, It's like,
how can we actually make it like a norm? I mean, how can we break this little cycle, and so we can get, men walking in like it's a, they can be a part of it, and they can come and reach out to you. I mean, how would you do that, Ashwini?
Same thing. I'm going to say, if anybody, of course, I would again do the assessment with men. It would be the thing. I would do assessment with them. I'll decide whether I should go for RTT and or else complex or EMDR, and it would be the same thing as women. Nothing different. But because also I do have a lot of men as clients. I do know. Sometimes I don't generalize. I usually try to dig in deeper with them than women, because they are difficult, as I said, and they don't open up. So sometimes I give them extra bit of a session with them to open up. So I do like a trial session with them, and then I actually have another session, which is a real session with them. If I feel they're not really opening up in first session or whatever.
That makes sense. Yeah. That does, because I think with men, I think you have to be a bit relaxed with them and give them more time. And I agree with that. And that's very nice to hear from you, that you actually give them extra time and sessions for that reason, because it's quite clear men do not open up as women do. That's one thing we've come to a conclusion of. Yes, Purvi, go ahead, please, darling.
So what advice you will give to the mothers today when they're bringing up boys, especially, and girls, but especially boys?
Oh, I'm to say, are we talking about session or?
No, in general, what advice would you give to the mothers of today who are raising their boys?
I'm trying to do that with my son. It's difficult. He's a teenager, so I don't know how to answer this question seriously. I'm trying, but boys are boys.
I know, but I can chip into this, because I'm going into the teenage. It is allowing and listening to the child, giving that space to the child to open up, be the best friend of the child, wherein the child can come and talk about everything.
So I always try, from my experience, I try always to, I ask my son to be very, to express himself and not to feel that he needs to be. So the thing is that because sometimes we have so much of exams and pressures and studies and this and that, I try to make it as if that, okay, this is also very important, but the most important thing is that you need to be happy and you need to be content to express. So from my side, it's no pressure, because sometimes pressure also kind of gives them PTSD for the future. Either they want to be over or they feel compared with their own sibling or the society and everything. So as a parent, I think something like stop comparison. Do not compare your child because you're a child unique. Whatever they do is age appropriate. Even if it comes to the point they're touching themselves inappropriately, ask them, but don't stop them from doing that, because if you stop them, then they'll wonder why, so everything very natural. So why you're doing it? Okay, do it when you're in a personal time. Don't do it in public, and also give them answers. Do not stop them. Of course, again, accept everything that is there. With me, with my son, I always, everything, gender, like, okay, pink is for boys. Pink is not for boys. That is something that, I tell him it's not fair. You can wear colors, whatever colors you want to wear. So that is my personal thing, actually, Purvi. But otherwise, I really don't know as far as that is concerned. Like, in session is different story, but as personal, this is what I would say to my son.
That's very good to know. What advice would you give to the woman out there? To science to look out?
Before you answer that question, I want to ask you something, Ashwini. Look, do you think it's a bit more, is it difficult because there's not a man in the house?
For me, so I have a shared custody with my son and my ex. So my child lives with me half the time and half the time with his father. So I think he does bit of whatever the father part is there, brilliant. And I do a bit of mother part is there.
Brilliant.
So I really
co-parenting together, and right, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and we don't interfere with the food, anything when it comes to my days or my things. His days are his things, because then otherwise that was the main reason, and my child was getting completely traumatized with whom to listen to.
So you put the child first, so you understood how important it is for both the parents to be involved in in the life of the child. So you're respecting one another. Yeah, that's brilliant. That is fantastic. Now, sorry, Purvi, go ahead.
We stay completely.
So, what advice would you give to the women out there who are going through trauma currently, or who has already gone through the trauma?
Okay, first of all, I'll reach out. It's important to process the trauma. If you don't process the trauma is going to continuously live with you, and you'll never be able to come out. You'll never have a normal life, because trauma controls your emotions and your social dynamics with people. So if you're going to day-to-day life and you want to function very normally, you have to have your emotions regulated. You can't be flooding all the time. If you're flooded all the time, you don't know, you do not interact, you become isolated. So I would say, please reach out, try to get help and process it out if you have trauma. That's my serious suggestion. Purvi?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's very good. And what about what advice would you give to the men out there?
Men. What advice? What do I answer? Put me this question.
What advice are you going to give?
Men out there who are going through the trauma currently.
Okay, like that, please again.
We are talking about therapy. We are talking about therapy. We are talking about trauma. So we need advice on that line. But
we spoke about, parenting, and I just went to the ex, and I'm like, what? I'm so sorry. Of course, yes, because again, I do have friends whose husbands are, I'm to say, they are not being fair on the women, and I also tell them, listen, if there is a possibility, please tell them again to go for therapy. Start with something, some counseling. They have so much of anger in there. It again comes to therapy. I'm not saying the answer to all the problems is therapy, but then you have to process your problems somewhere, and whoever it is, whichever form of modality, I must say, RTT or hypnotherapy or EMDR or ECT, please reach out.
That's one therapy work for everyone.
See, again, with RTT, I would only do single incident because I know the core or other the incidents are related to that particular issue. But if the person comes to me with a list of issues, then I know this person is going through PTSD clusters. We call them clusters. Then I can gauge it even when the person comes with the issues. Then I completely see which are the issues which I can nail down with RTT because time it gets immediately resolved. But I see that there are other issues which are very, very detailed. I actually move to more complex therapy, which is my complex therapy. So it again depends person to person, issues to issues.
So how did you, after studying RTT, what made you think to study trauma and other complex therapies?
So when I was doing RTT, I was doing many sessions for a lot of issues, and somewhere I realized that the part where it comes to this cluster wasn't really, I couldn't nail down the clusters, and I had to go deeper and deeper with it. So that is why I knew that the complex would take some time. It would be 6 months, because if the child has had sexual abuse, and then that same child has had bullying in the school, the same child has grown up and had 2 3 like during growing up rape or something like that, and the same person also had marital abuse and all. This is a lot here we are looking into. This needs a 6 months of proper complex therapy, and I do have people like that. I do need to help them, so I want to do that in that manner because I really need to take them because they're so mentally completely, they are so out of it that it has to be a slow and delicate process for them. So that's why I had to, for very complex people, I had to do this. It becomes 6 months or 3 months depending on how severe it is. Sometimes it's even years. So yeah.
That's good to know. Okay, so how do people contact you? If they're interested, how do people contact you?
I have a website and plus email address, and through the website they can always email me, and whenever they go there they can contact me, and then it directly comes the message and everything. So my website is www.ashwiniptherapy.co.uk, and email address is, should I be saying all that?
Don't worry about the email address. We'll put it on the
the website. I still have to make a proper Instagram and everything, but I'll be on it.
So Oscar, are you there?
Yes, of course I'm there. I'm listening to you both.
Okay. Do you have any more questions?
Well, would Ashwini, are your clients mainly London-based, or do you have a based people from other countries? Yeah.
I have clients in India, in US, in UK, in Australia. So it's online right now. So I work like basically my insurance covers me everywhere at this point of a time.
So if anybody wanted to contact you now during COVID-19, as you know, we've got rules in place. How are you actually going to be doing this sessions with them?
I do it through Zoom.
And is it done exactly the same way, and you get the same results?
Yes. Because first we did think about hypnotherapy. How would it be? Because when it started, but then I had the same results. So yeah, I think it's worked the same manner. Of course, when it is one-to-one, I like to kind of hold their hand if they allow. If they're going through some thing, that becomes a little nice because somebody's holding through you through the whole thing. But that's not allowed. But here also we do a discovery call. We try to do a bit of half an hour or maybe even a call before. We try to kind of get to know each other, become a little more with each other, then into directly running into the therapy session. So yeah,
because I was just thinking, because if someone who's very traumatized and God forbid the internet went off, the guy's still going to be hypnotherapist. He'll still be half asleep and half awake, or she'll be half asleep, half awake. And if the internet goes off, what happens then?
What we do is basically we always have something we give them, like a whole paper of, okay, please keep a laptop charged, keep your phone there, have your tissue papers, keep a bucket if you're going to throw up. So all that is given to them because we know sometimes they purge when their emotions are too high, they throw up as times, or they are like succumbing and all, everything is like just out and out. So we have everything. And in hypnotherapy, you can always take a break. But if it's an internet issue, we always start off where we leave. So that is always there. We always say if something happens with the internet, because now all of us are on Wi-Fi, right? Exactly. So you and my son, yeah. So many goes up and down. The internet is not there. So we always make it a provision to let them know if in case something like this happens, we are going to reconnect either immediately or if the resolve, we know that we are writing down anyways, we're going to continue with the next session. And we do continue with the next session.
I mean, like if the internet gets off and you can't get back on and the person is already being has a bit of hypnotherapy with you, does he manage to or she manage to be back to normal even without that's what I need to clear.
Yeah, so they do, because they do, when they don't listen to my voice, they know that something has happened, so they come out. So many times they just come out and they say, you know what, I want to go to the loo, as I told you before. They go to the loo and they come back. And then I do the same. I take them down the steps again and we are relaxed again and we continue like that. And sometimes if the internet goes, they call me up on the phone. There's like, oh, the internet is gone and all. I'm like, okay, fine. So let's just stop here and I do the stabilization with them, get calm down. And they say, okay, when do we reschedule again? So we take it whenever. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds brilliant. Brilliant. So would you just like to give again the details? I know you've got an Instagram. You just people can catch you on there. Telephone number, website. If you can go through it again, please, one more time.
Okay, so my website www.ashwiniptherapy.co.uk. The email address is moksh, that is MOKSA @ashwiniptherapy.co.uk. My phone number is 07375 455 394. Yeah.
Thank you. That was very good. I must say it's been quite enlightening talking to you and listening to you because there's certain things that I had an anxiety about hypnotherapy, and I didn't realize that you can do semi-hypnotherapy as well, where you're still aware of what you're doing, which is more safer in my eyes. I would rather do that than to go on full-blown hypnotherapy and don't know where I am. And it's nice to know, and it's nice to know especially about the certain things. I mean, I want to talk about menopause with women. Now, menopause is given a certain age, certain time, 50 plus, 60 plus, I think it is. That's the sort of limit they say it starts off. Some girls get it very young. Some women get it in their 40s. Yeah. Now, do you think that could also be related to some trauma? And could you, if you can do fertility, and you realise this person's too young to be on a menopause, and you can reverse the cycle?
So I haven't come across a client like that, but my colleagues in RTT have come across menopause and they specialize in it. So because I know it can be resolved, but I haven't had a client, unfortunately, but they have. So if I feel we also do refer who's specialist in what. I know somebody who specializes in cancer, so I would refer. If somebody comes to me for a cancer, I would say, that person would be better for cancer, like that, because they have specialty in that. So we also do our niches in this. But menopause has been looked into by a few of my colleagues. I haven't got a client, but if I do get a client, I would be doing the same. It's the same tools. We run with the same tools. It's the same format, even for that. Wow. So yes, menopause is also because of some issue and trauma. It has come early. We also do, we have basically scripts. We have when we studied, we were given scripts, which are general scripts, which we modify per person. But there is a script for menopause as well. So we know we can do the script. If in case I do get a client, I would work upon that. But then I would prefer if somebody's really done so many cases, they would know how to really deal with it like that.
Right, so that's good to hear, because I didn't know that, because I see you doing quite a bit of, it's okay, there's criteria in this. So if God forbid, did you say cancer? So you've got hypnotherapy for that as well, which is obviously on another level, and then you've got hypnotherapy for like I just mentioned, reversing cycle are either to do with menopause or fertility on a different level. So you're just under touching the basics of the so-called, should we say, the more common issues.
So, right, like I have had a cancer client, and currently working with her. So she's going to give me. Fortunately, she's a doctor as well. So she is going to make it. She's going to tell me. She's going to explain me her cancer in more detail. So once I come to know the medical history about it, then I would be doing the same thing with her, and then I would be re-scripting what she has said. So the cells, what type of cells are there? So I would be naming them, and then I would be shaping them and making, like, giving them a texture and, oxygen and generating and everything. So my script becomes according to what she gives me. So currently I'm working on that one. She's in India, so that is one thing. Menopause, I said I don't have anybody at this point of a time, but like there's a script and I can work on it. But some people do specialize, because people who have been through cancer have become RTT therapists. So they know, they have been through it. So they're very, like, they're there kind of a thing. So all of us are qualified, but only thing is that if I feel that this person...
Yeah, I feel that some people get whatever client, they get specialized in that. Yeah. You study the same thing, but if you get more clients on, say, domestic violence or sexual abuse, you will be specializing in that. But that does not mean that you are limited to that cases only. Yeah, you are open to take any cases which is referred to you.
Yeah, I'm open to all the cases, and mostly I do get a lot of trauma clients. So somehow I feel it's always the calling. Somehow coincidentally it happens that cancer specialists usually get somehow, I don't know how, but they end up getting a lot of cancer clients, and somehow I'm getting a lot of trauma clients, men or women. So it just happens that way somehow. But we are qualified for everything. Yeah.
Right, thank you so much, Ashwini. I'm absolutely delighted to have you on, and I'm hoping that, and I'm really hoping that people that have been listening, and we're going to put this live recording on as well, Bless Radio, they can tune in and listen to the your conversation. That this is very important, because some people don't want to go the route down to the doctors. I'm one of those people who go to the doctors. I'm going to be honest. I would prefer to come to you. This is the honest truth. And if I can get some peace and some treatment and some confidence, and with your treatment, I would go for that. My option would be you. And if there may be lots of people out there that would love to go down that route, and I think it's really good to reassure us that there's two types, hypnotherapy and hypnotherapy is the one that actually, the ones I'm against, to be honest with you. I need to have someone there who I can trust. Maybe Purvi will be with me, holding my hand, then I don't mind.
Yeah, definitely, Oscar. Definitely, you should go for it.
She'll drag me out straight away.
Yeah.
We had a talk on it, isn't it, Oscar?
I'll be fine with Ashwini. Don't get me wrong, Purvi. I'll be fine with her. But if I have to go for proper hypnotherapy, I'd rather have you there on one side so you can drag me out straight away.
No problem. I'm always there with you.
Yeah, I mean to say this is always the first question. It's always so I have put it on the FAQ as well on the website. Right. All the questions, whether what will happen to me, will I be start like doing this and that, and will you control me? So all the things I have put in FAQ. Yes, this is asked, and will my secrets be out and this and that, and I'm like, no. I would whatever you want to tell me will come out. Nothing, there are no secrets. I'm going to pop out or something like that, something once upon a time like that. But yes, but it's good. I thoroughly enjoy it, doing it. It's like, it's like detective work, frankly speaking. So it's a lot of
but also, Ashwini, you've actually helped yourself. You've helped yourself through this as well, haven't you, personally, really?
Personally, yes. I've had an RTD session because of many, many things, because while studying as well as this and a lot of, with my own issues with bleeding and with my neck pain and with my own, I'm to say, weight issues, of course. I've had a lot of issues. So
like most women, when they've had children, they've had epidural. You must know about epidural. And I've noticed, 10 years down the line, they're actually getting effects of it now. and it's usually goes back to epidural. And for the men out there, it's an injection that ladies take to escape the pain of labour. And unfortunately, for some, it wears off quickly. For some, it stays longer, so they really can't feel the pain. But the effect happens, and I know I get pain. I thought my sciatica and the lower back pain is because of the epidural. Now I was wondering if I came to therapy for that, could you like touch on that?
Yes. So I do look into a lot of somatic disorder because my journey started with somatic disorder. So pain is something I completely look into as my own journey. And as Purvi said, something like specialization, I think because I have had that, so I really do a lot of work on that as well. So with somatic disorder, it's usually that if it is a pain and if it is actual physical issue, then it's acute and the acute would pass off and it will be okay. But when the acute becomes chronic, then there is more than the actual physical reason. Then we have to look into what lies beneath. And that what lies beneath is again hypnotherapy, finding the root cause of it.
Right, okay. Yeah. And I'm just wondering if you'd be comfortable to mention the prices that you charge, or would you like to not mention it and talk to one individually depending on their issues, you see?
Actually, yes. So generally, because it's a hypnotherapy, it's one time. I won't be seeing that client again. I usually charge. But if it goes to another multiple sessions, then
I'm sorry, Ashwini. I'm sorry. That got cut off. Can you say that again, please? You got cut off there. Say that again.
So if it is like a one-time session, then I would be charging £150. But if it becomes multiple sessions, multiple issues with the same person, then I see the flexibility of the person. Then I see how much that person can afford, because to me the issue is far more important. But also I would take 150 even then if it has multiple issues like that.
Right. Would you have, I shouldn't say this because it's not fair, because you've got a profession, then you've got to be paid, and that's the way it should be. It's not fair that people can go up to our, when they say it's our own people, we can say, oh no, please darling, can you go a bit down, please? No, you're out there to give a service, and your service should be paid. Simple as that. But would you take into account if someone said to you like, yes, I need to have 1 or 2 sessions with you, could I give you a deposit and do it in installments? Would you be open to something like this?
I do installments as well. I take monthly installment. Like they can give 50. So if it's 150, they can give me for 3 months, like 50.
Well, there you go. No one's got no excuse now. No excuse. I'm booking. I'm going to book in Purvi. I'm booking Purvi.
Aska ji, do you know the architect therapist what they charge? And an hour
I know it's too much.
It's £400, 600, £500, depending upon the therapist you get.
And not just that, I think the thing about Ashwini is, and I'm going to say this on air, is that you feel very personal with her, because she's been through so much issues and dilemmas in her life that a lot of women will easily relate to her, and they'll feel comfortable going to see her because they'll know exactly what to do, because she'll pinpoint it straight away rather than wasting your time and going through lots of things. She'll say, yeah, I know what you're going through. It's this, and that's it. It's done.
Yeah. So I think also because, yes, Purvi is right. Actually, my colleagues do charge 400 and 500 per session. But right now, because of the COVID situation, and as Asta also said that, I do personally feel it's important that, I support. So that's why.
That is very sweet of you to say that. That's very nice of you to keep everyone in mind. That is really nice of you to do that. Support everyone, knowing the fact you're providing a service which people charge triple and double for. That is really, and that's more the reason why, if everyone listening out there, go and check out Ashwini, because I will be checking her out very soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I do need a lot of clients. Thank you.
I mean it, Ashwini. I mean it. I think I need a session with you.
Please.
Yes, you're brilliant, and I'm so glad I've met you through Purvi, and I'm so glad you came on to
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity, Asta. Thanks for the opportunity, Purvi. Thank you, Bless. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're
Grateful.
welcome, my darling. Thank
Very
you so
grateful.
much.
Actually, it is unify. It is we all sisterhood. It sounds like sisterhood. Unify is a sisterhood, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, and our
Thank
brother
you.
is blessed.
And our brother is blessed.
My brother bless.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
So, Purvi, what do you think? That was really good, wasn't it?
It was excellent. I
Yeah.
have gone through this myself, so I know the effect, how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why, yeah, because I think because you've actually been through it personally, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Can you hear me, Purvi?
Sorry.
I said because you went through it personally, it makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does make a huge difference, and really, you will feel a difference after the session is completed. You know,
Right.
you will really feel a difference after listening to that 21 days of recording.
Oh,
You will,
yes, you have to listen to that recording for 21 days.
yeah.
Wow.
It's like
So, God forbid, I should have asked her, but if you don't listen to it for 21 days, you miss a day or two, does that make an effect? Probably does.
Not,
That's one of the criteria. Yeah, that's one of the criteria you have to follow.
Yeah, but I don't think so much it would be an effect if you miss one day. But more than one day it's a question. Are you really serious? And are you seriously taking what you have got seriously, and you will really want to resolve it? To be very honest.
Well, it was something enlightening to me because RTTT, I thought it was not. I really didn't think much about RTT, to be honest with you, but it just goes and shows that you have to know a lot before you can actually become a professional hypnotherapy. And the way this lady talks about the issues that she's been dealing with, which sound basic, but there's a lot of it going on. The traumas and the trauma broken down into stress, OCD, fertility. Fertility was that really got to me, and how she can actually go to the bottom of it and take you out. People on addictions, people who are smoking can actually go there. I'd rather you go there than to go and get patches. I'm not saying I'm against going to doctors. Even she said you must go to doctors, yes, but sometimes you don't want to take that route all the time.
But doctors would give you a call on the medical basis, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not against
that.
You
but
can.
this and that will cure you for a time being. It will cure you for a time being. But what about the long-term basis?
Yeah.
What about the long-term basis? There has to be a solution on the long-term basis. You cannot be sitting there and having pills every time you get the symptoms.
Yeah, because she said that in her show. Yeah.
Understand? And I understood today very well that our subconscious mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. There's no limits to it. And the things we store in it are not the general things. Are the things, the self-talk we do ourselves, to ourselves. When we sit down and talk to ourselves, like think and talk to ourselves, everything gets stored in the subconscious mind. And knowingly or unknowingly, it affects you in your conscious life.
Yeah.
So I would really advise people out there, start loving yourself. Start talking to yourself nicely. Treating yourself.
Like she said, it's okay to feel this way, but it's not okay to carry the burden with you. And, for yourself, it's rather you have to get rid of that burden because that burden affects the people around you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's not only your life. It's not only your life being affected, it is the people around you whose life has also been affected by the behavior what you do.
Absolutely.
Like anger and aggression, what we say, really affects the whole surrounding around you. Not only yourself, the people around you, the mood swings, everything.
Well, to our viewers out there, RTT means Rapid Transformational Therapist. And she's actually says this, that, it's a cure and it can be cured and it's a permanent cure, hopefully. And Ashwini Power is her name. And it's www.ashwini, ASHWINI, ptherapy.co.uk. Email address is moksha@ashwini, therapy.co.uk is her email. If you want to get in touch with her, the best thing about I liked about Ashwini was she's so considerate. First of all, her prices are very good, and she's open to taking installments. So I think, there's no excuse now. I think people should go and check this lady out. What do you think, Purvi?
Definitely, they should go and check the lady out. They should go and try the sessions out.
Yeah,
and see what
definitely.
to them.
Yeah.
And it might change their life and their lifestyle at the same time.
That's right. Thank you very much for joining. We've got 1 minute left now to finish off. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Purvi?
Thank you for listening to us.
Where were you halfway through the session? That's what I want to know.
You really want to know? On the radio, I can tell you. My boiler got busted.
There you go.
Out.
There you go. The whole viewers know the reason why she disappeared for half an hour is the boiler got busted.
Yeah, the whole water is flooding out now. You have to bloody go and clean it once the session is over.
Thank you for tuning into Blessed Radio with Unified Platform. Co-host Purvi and Unified together, talking today with our guest Ashwini about RTT and the benefits of RTT. Go and check her out, and hopefully see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Take care. Bye, Purvi.
Bye.
Bye.